let's talk about drafting with Kha Zix. Can you blind pick Kha Zix is the first question. And in solo queue, yes, you can blind pick Kha Zix, but it is not the best blind pick out there, but it is doable. Next, let's talk about when is it good and when is it bad to draft Kha Zix. So Kha Zix wants to get fed in the early game in order to snowball and carry an entire game. And in order for him to get fed in early game, he needs one of two things. He needs either good lane setup with CC from his laners, or he needs enemy team to be very immobile so that he can catch them and kill them. So I am now gonna be showcasing 3 different drafts and explain why it is good or bad to pick Kha Zix in the given situation. So we have Ahri mid who has a charm. We have a Kassadin mid who is only capable of going for escapes when he's level 6. Then we have CC on Nautilus with his Q and his passive auto attack against a immobile enemy AD carry. And then we have a CC top laner, but against a top laner who is ranged and kind of mobile. So in this situation, it is doable to pick Kha Zix right here and simply play for mid and bot lane before level 6 especially, and bot lane throughout the game. If we then go to draft number 2, then we can see that enemy, we have Nami Q, but that's not the most reliable CC, but we do see that the enemy bot lane is immobile and they're both squishy, that's another thing. Then we do have a Q on Annie, but the problem is that Akali can go into her W and she's also mobile with her E and her ulti, so it's kind of difficult to gank that. And then they have a tank top lane that is pretty difficult for us to kill. So can you pick Kha Zix in this situation? Yeah, you can pick Kha Zix in this situation. It's not as good because the amount of CC that we have is not as reliable. But because the enemy team is very mobile on bot side, you can sit and camp bot lane and you can do really well. Then the third draft here, we see that we have some CC on top lane with Aatrox Q, but Renekton can escape with his E. Then we do have some setup with LeBlanc E, but it's not the most reliable CC. And unfortunately, Lissandra has her E to just escape it. And then we have Braum Q and his ulti, but again, not the most reliable CC. And unfortunately, they have Saya ulti and they have Rakan W and E, making it really difficult to pick Kha Zix in this situation, because there's no easy way for Kha Zix to get fed this game. On top of that, enemy team can lock down the Kha Zix really easily with their CC that is point and click. And to top it off, there is also True Sight on the Lee Sin, which Kha Zix hates playing against because it means that his ulti becomes completely useless. So in order to pick Kha Zix, as I said, we need either our laners to have good CC or enemy team to be immobile, and then if they're squishy, that is pretty much just a bonus. The situations where it's really bad to play Kha Zix is when you don't have any CC in your team, enemy team is tanky, and enemy team has mobility, and last but not least, if they have a lot of true sight. So it could be Lee Sin Q, Karma W, Kai'Sa W, Twisted Fate ulti, anything like that is what Kha Zix doesn't want to play into.